as soon as their fuel is finished, they have to return to this earthly planet. All these activities are performed in illusion. The real attempt should now be to return home, back to Godhead. The process is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, Yanti Mad Yagnopi Mam. Those who engage in the devotional service of Supreme Personality of Godhead return home, back to Godhead. Human life is very valuable and one should not waste it in a vain exploration of other planets. One should be intelligent enough to return to Godhead. One should be interested in information about the spiritual Vaikuntha planets and in particular the planet known as Golaka Vrindavana, and should learn the art of going there by the simple method of devotional service, beginning with hearing Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu. This is also confirmed in Srimad Bhagavatam 12.3.51. Kale doshe nidhe rajam asti hi eko mahan guna kirtanad eva krishnasya mukta sangha param vrajet. One can go to the supreme planet param vrajet simply by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. This is especially meant for the people of this age. Kale doshe nidhe. It is the dosha nidhe. It is the special advantage of this age that simply by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, one can become purified of all material contamination and return home back to Godhead. There is no doubt about this. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Prabhuji.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah. So here it is very clearly mentioned. So Brahma Bhuvana Lokaha Punaravartino Arjuna Mama Petyatu Kauntiya Punarjanmana Vidyade. From the highest planet like a Satyaloka till the lowest planet like a Patala Loka, everywhere the miseries are there, like the four calamity, birth, death, old age, and disease. Like we can't get escape from those things. So we have to realize what is our real home, and we have to like, okay, keep on thinking about how I can go back to the Godhead, how I can go back to my real home. That has to be our motive of the life. So for that, like what we have to do, we have to do the devotional service, which is the easier process. And in this Kali Yuga, like the easiest process is like a hearing and chanting the holy name of the Lord. So that has to be performed. The devotional service has like a various angas. In that, the hearing and chanting is like one of the main anga as well. So that has to be performed to go back to the Godhead. So that is what being mentioned here, which Narada is explaining to Prachinabari via the Puranjana allegory theory. And after explaining also, Puranjana couldn't able to understand. Sorry, Prachinabari is unable to understand. But then Narada is explaining again. But for us, like okay, via the acharyas and various great gurus, okay, and via Srila Prabhupada, he gives like the purport in detail so that we are able to understand in the first strike itself. Like okay, so that is what the beauty of like okay, following the parampara. So the next sloka.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Sudha Mataji, you can read the words. Shobha Mataji translation and Meenakshi Mataji the purport. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandat Pranam.
Hare Krishna ji, yeah.
Astirya darvai prag agrai कात्स्यन्येन क्षितिमण्डलं स्तब्धो बृहद्वधान्मानि कर्म नैवैषि यत्परं तत्कर्म हरितोषं यत् सा विद्या तन्मतिर्यया. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Dandat Mataji and Prabhuji. Translation to His Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. My dear King, the entire world is covered with the sharp points of kusa grass, and on the strength of this, you have become proud because you have killed various types of animals in sacrifice. Because of your foolishness, you do not know that devotional service is the only way one can please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You cannot understand this fact. Your only activities should be those that can please the personality of Godhead. Our education should be such that we can become elevated to Krishna consciousness. Haribol. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah,
Dandavats.
Reshmaji. So as we
Hare
saw,
Krishna.
the devotional service is the only way to go back to Godhead, and we have to our education should be in such a way that it has to elevate ourselves into the Krishna consciousness, not getting the PhD, getting more and more degrees on the material education, academical qualification, all those things matter, but that doesn't matter too much in our spiritual life. Yes, Mataji. Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji Mataji Dandavats purport by Srila Prabhupada.
Yeah.
In this verse, the great sage Narada Muni directly tells the king because he was engaged in performing sacrifices that entailed the killing of a great number of animals. The king was thinking that he was great for having performed so many sacrifices, but the great sage Narada directly chastises him, informing him that his animal killing only leads to his being puffed up with false prestige. Actually, anything that is done which does not lead to Krishna consciousness is a sinful activity, and any education that does not lead one to understand Krishna is false education. If Krishna consciousness is missing, one is simply engaged in false activities and false educational pursuits. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Ji. So the whole conversation started with the king Prachinabari was doing a lot of animal sacrifices, and Narada Muni was asking hey, why you are doing these many animal sacrifices, and he was saying it is prescribed in the Vedas, and this was I got the message from the previous my parampara. So then he is giving the whole allegory theory of the Puranchana, and he's saying no, you should not perform. So then he's explaining directly Narada Muni is chastising Prachinabari directly, and he's saying animal killing should not be done on a if I want to gain a more and more fame and popularity, for that reason it should not be done. It should be done only to please the Lord. And if I am not doing in that manner, then I'm doing nothing but getting more and more sinful activity. So here very nicely said, anything that is done which does not lead to Krishna consciousness is a sinful activity. So in our daily activity, if you are not thinking about Krishna in any of our activity, then we are doing nothing but the sinful activity. And any education that does not lead one to understand Krishna is a false education. How much ever intelligent we are, or you are anyone are in there, they may be a double PhD holder or a triple, they are very big scientists, etc., etc. But if they don't understand or they are not connecting everything to Krishna, then the whole education is of no use, and it is a false education. If Krishna consciousness is missing in any step of our life, then we are engaged in false activities and false education pursuits, which is going to make us to be in this material world again and again, punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam. We will never be able to go back to Godhead. So that is what Narada Muni is explaining to King Prachinabari. So the last sloka for today, I will try to recite the sloka. हरिर्देहभृताम् आत्मा स्वयं प्रकृतिरीश्वरः तत्पादमूलं शरणं यतः क्षेमो निर्णम् इह. The translation by His Divine Grace, Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Sri Hari, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the super soul and guide of all living entities who have accepted material bodies within this world. He is the supreme controller of all material activities in material nature. He is also our best friend, and everyone should take shelter at his lotus feet. In doing so, one's life will be auspicious. So, Krishna is present in every one of us as a which Vishnu? Hare Krishna. Kshirodakashayi Vishnu, correct? So we should never make enmity with anyone. We should consider everyone as the part and parcel of the Lord. Then, if we think in that manner, then Lord will guide us like to understand the difference between material universe and like the spiritual universe, because many would not be knowing, okay, as we are on the last day of this year. So tonight, like you will see most craziest things, correct? Like people will be crowded like to partying, people will be crowded like to celebrate the new year. But for us, like the new year would be to celebrate with Krishna every year. Like, okay, every day is new year for us. Every moment is new year. Like, okay, because we are going to uncover Krishna. Like, we are going to understand more about Krishna. So that has to be our motive. So first we need to understand like, hey, what is the difference between material and the spiritual universe? Why we came here? We are body or we are soul? We have to understand that like we are not the body, we are the soul, and our real home is to go back to the Godhead. Real home is like the Vaikuntha Dham, sorry, not the Goloka Vrindavan Dham, and we have to go back there. For that, what we have to do, like we have to do the devotion service. We don't know how much time we left in this particular body in this life, so we have to perform the devotional service. So that has to be our motive in this life, like to go back to Godhead and to take the shelter under His lotus feet. In doing so, one's life will be auspicious. We all wants our life to be auspicious as possible, correct? So if we include Krishna in every one of our activity, then our life would be auspicious. If we are not including Krishna, then it would be inauspicious. We invite the inauspicious in our life. So there is no better time than like this. We have to start the devotion service now. Like okay, no need to even say that okay, I will start from tomorrow because New Year is taking place, so I will start from tomorrow. No, the auspicious thing to be started, like the important thing to be started right and then and there, like not we don't need to delay the things. Okay, the purport I request
Padma Mataji can read the purport. Hare Krishna.
yeah, Hare Krishna. Yeah.
Krishna Prabhuji, Dandat Pranam.
Hare Krishna ji. Yeah.
Forward by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. In Bhagavad Gita 18.61, it is said, Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam Hridesha Arjuna Tisthiti. The Supreme Personality is situated in everyone's heart, O Arjuna. The living entities within the body and the super soul, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is also there. He is called Antaryami and Chaitya Guru. As Lord Krishna states in Bhagavad Gita 15.15, he is controlling everything. Sarvasya chaham hridhi sannivisto matasmiti jnanam apohanam ja. I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me come remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. Everything is being directed by the super soul within the body. Therefore, the better part of valor is to take his direction and be happy. To take his directions, one need to be a devotee, and these also confirm in Bhagavad Gita 10.10. Tesam satata yuktanam bhajatam pritipurrakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mamupayanti te. To those who are constantly devoted and worship me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. Although the super soul is in everyone's heart, Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam Hridesha Arjuna Tisthiti, he talks only to the pure devotees who constantly engage in his service. In Chaitanya Bhagavata, Antya 3.43, it said, Tare se badi vidya mantra adhyayana Krishna pade padme ye kareya stira mana. Sorry. One who has fixed his mind on the lotus feet of Krishna is to be understood as having the best education and as having studied all the Vedas. There are also other appropriate quotes in Chaitanya Bhagavata. Se vidyara phala jaya nischaya Krishna pada padme yadi chitta vittiraya. The perfect result of an education is the fixing of one's mind on the lotus feet of Krishna. Adi Leela 13.178. Digvijaya kariba vidyara karya nahe ईश्वर बहिले से विद्या सत्य कहे. Conquering the world by means of material education is not desirable. If one engages himself in devotional service, his education is perfect. Adi Lila 13.173. पदे के ने लोक कृष्ण भक्ति ज्ञानी भारे से यदि नहीं लाता बे विद्याय की करे. The purpose of education is to understand Krishna and his devotional service. If one does not do so, then his education is false. Adilera 12.49. तारे से बड़ी धर्म कर्म सदाचार ईश्वर से प्रीति जन्मे सम्मत सबारा. Being cultured, educated, very active and religious means developing natural love for Krishna. Antya Leela 3.44. Everyone has dormant love for Krishna, and by culture and education, that has to be awakened. This is the purpose of this Krishna conscious movement, Krishna consciousness movement. Once Lord Chaitanya asked Sri Ramananda Raya, what the best part of education was, and Ramananda Raya replied that the best part of education is advancement in Krishna consciousness. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare
the
Krishna.
blessed.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. So as again in this look also, like Srila Prabhupada mentioned very clearly, the devotional service has to be performed, and whatever education or like whatever activity we are doing, if it is not connected to Krishna, if it is not helping us to elevate in Krishna consciousness, then it is like a mundane activities. And even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, while he was discussing with Sri Ramananda Rai, the best part of the education, he very clearly mentioned advancement in Krishna consciousness. So how we can advance in Krishna consciousness? Why we have to read all these things, like why we have to apply in our daily life? So that we will see in the slides. So the main thing is we have to perform devotional service. There are various ways to perform devotional service. There are various ways to remember Krishna. Okay, Krishna didn't give only one choice. Okay, only you do chanting, that is the only way like to reach me. That is one of the way. Okay, that is a prime way to reach Lord. The other is Ravanam, Kirtanam, like a Vishnu Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Vandanam, Archanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmanivedanam. So 9 process of devotional service he has given. So in that, like we have to smaran, we have to do the smaran of the Lord. We have to do like the chanting of the holy name of the Lord. Like we have to hear about the glories of the Lord. Okay, likewise, we will develop the Krishna consciousness. So let's just go to the slide. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So as we have seen like multiple times, one more time, like we'll see, Srimad Bhagavatam is like nothing but the transcendental body of the body of Krishna. So all the 12 cantos representing various parts of like various anga of the Krishna, like chapter 1 and 2 represents the lotus feet of the Lord, which is talking about introduction, Sarga and Visarga. The third and fourth canto represents like thighs of the Lord, which is talking about Sarga and Visarga, primary and secondary creation. Canto 5, we are talking about like a fourth canto only, correct? Like we are talking about the thighs of the Lord. The 5, canto 5 representing like in the navel of the Lord, which is Sthana. 6 representing like a chest. 7 and 8 like a representing arms. 9th canto representing like a throat. 10th canto representing like the lotus face, which is nothing but the Krishna book, and 11th is representing the forehead, and 12th is like representing the head, and what are the topics, like various topics explained in Srimad Bhagavatam. So Srimad Bhagavatam is like a pure transcendental body of Sri Krishna. So the various Srimad Bhagavatam layered conversation is first Lord Brahma, Krishna is speaking to Lord Brahma. That is a Chatusloki of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Then Brahma narrating that to like a Narada Muni and asking him to expand. Then Narada Muni speaking to Vyasadeva in the banks of Saraswati. Then Vyasadeva speaking to the Sukadeva Goswami in the village. And Sukadeva Goswami like is speaking to Parikshit Maharaj, like you can resist when Sutta Goswami like on the banks of Ganges. Sutta Goswami speaking to the sages headed by Shaunaka Muni, Gomati River, and the name is Sharniya, and the Vaishampayana narrating to King Janamejaya, and another mercy of like a Srila Prabhupada, all over the world, like we can see via ISKCON temple. Like, okay, we are able to see the Srimad Bhagavatam been spoken by various acharyas, like various devotees to others. Hare Krishna. The benefits of hearing these pastimes, why we need to hear, because before we do any activity, we need to understand why, what, like, okay, what is benefit for me. So by hearing this Rinvadam Swakada Krishnaga Punya Sravana Kirtanaga Hridayantastohi Abhadrani Vidunodi Sugar Sadam. So it cleanses the desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee who has developed the urge to hear. Okay, that is the beauty of this hearing. Then by just giving the oral reception, feeling for loving devotion service to Krishna will sprout like in our heart, and which will extinguish the fire of lamentation, illusion, fearfulness. Okay, then if anyone like hear seriously, then Lord Krishna manifest in their heart within a very short span of time. So what is in for me, like these pastimes, why Lord performing these pastimes? This is to attract the devotees, like the conditioned souls, to experience the love of Godhead. It reminds us like to remember Krishna. It appreciates, attracts, like and aspire for us to attain the lotus feet of the Lord. We have to realize by the real eyes via the spiritual master. Okay, these are the various energies of Krishna. Like whenever we drink water or like we see the sun and moon, we see our surroundings, like we need to think it is nothing but Krishna's energy, and via that, like we can understand Krishna. So we are seeing the Swayambhu Manu's dynasty from the 3rd canto, 21st chapter till 5th canto, 15th chapter. So now we are in the where like 3 daughters of Swayambhu Manu and 2 sons of like their family lineage being explained. So Devaguti, Akuti, and Prasuti, their pastimes, like their son and daughter's pastime, like been mentioned in this till 4th canto, 7th chapter, and 4th canto, 8th chapter onwards, like till 31st. King Uttanapada's like a family lineage been explained, then Priyavrata's lineage been explained. Like so now we are in the Bargisat, like a Prachinabari. Is another name is like a Bargisat, who is the lineage of like the Dhruva and Prithu Maharaj, and his sons are like a Prachetas. So that is what we are seeing. Yeah, this is a whole family tree, like how from Krishna, like Lord Brahma comes from Swayambhu Manu, via Swayambhu Manu, like Akuti is coming to like a Sakshusha Manu, and from them like Anga, King Anga, Vena, and Nishada and Prithu Maharaj, like via Prithu Maharaj, Havirdhana, and Barhishat like comes, and Barhishat is like Prachinabari. Via him, like the Prachinabari's name, son's name is Prachetas. Via Prachetas, like Daksha comes. So that is how the whole family lineage, like of Srimad Bhagavatam, we can see. This is like a little more expanded view. So in the 4.29, it is talks between like Narada and King Prachinabari. So previous chapters, we already seen King from 4.25, like Narada Muni is explaining to Narada Muni is meeting Prachinabari and asking like why you're doing animal killing like unnecessarily. Then he's saying like I just doing it as per my instruction like given by the previous members. I don't like why I am getting engaged into to that particular material activities. Then Narada Muni is explaining, okay, no, whatever you are doing is wrong, and you have to engage in the devotional service via the King Puranjana, allegory theory. After explaining all these things, the 4.29, again, King Prachinabari is asking like Narada Muni, whatever you explain to me, it is little Greek and Latin, I am unable to understand. Can you please explain to me again? So then Narada Muni is explaining like the whole allegory theory summary in this particular chapter. So that we will see like in various flow charts, which will help us to understand like what Narada Muni explained to King Prachinabari. Okay, so that's what Narada Muni elaborates like allegory theory from sloka 1 to 25, then 26 to 33 sloka, like a direct description of this samsara, like how this material world been created, and what is the way to get out from this material world? Bhakti is the solution. So that has been explained from 34 to 40, first sloka. Then 42 to 55, it ends like a King Vrachinabari's rituals, why he has to stop the animal killing, because Krishna is present in every one of the animal, every one of the living entity as a Shirodagashai Vishnu. So if you are killing an animal without the real meaning, or without the real focus, then it would be considered as you are doing the sinful activity. Then again, further questions by King Prachinabari, then he's asking, Narada Muni is explaining transmigration of the soul, how and what are the things will be carry forward along with our soul after we die. Then the renunciation of the Prachinabari, he's understanding all these things by the mercy of Narada Muni, and he's able to understand the Phalastuti from 83 to 85. So there's a big chapter, this is what have been the talk between Narada Muni and Barhisat, or Prachinabari. So again, Prachinabari fails to understand the analogy. The whole table represents how he can understand the whole of the allegory theory of via the Puranjana story. Then Jiva under the different states of intelligence, what is action, what is inaction, what is karma, akarma, vikarma, all those things being mentioned. Then the body analogy, how the body, the whole city of that body been attacked by Chanda Devas, and how Puranjana is being attacked, and he is getting into the old age, and he goes for the death, and how he can be saved from this material attachment. So that has been explained. Then I and my conception out of ignorance causes miseries. So then Jiva forgetting the Lord, all these things, how it is happening, because the Jiva forgets about our real relationship with the Lord, and under the modes of material nature controlling us, rather than we have to control them. Correct? The goodness means a pious activity they will do, and they will reach heaven. The passion, they will do the laborious activities, and they will be circling in the human planets. The ignorance, avidya, then they will be in the miserable condition, and they will go to the animal kingdom. This have various, our position in our next life will be decided. So different bodies and different modes, how under various bodies we accumulate because of our material nature. So just like a wandering dog gets lower or higher bodies based upon our activity, that will be decided out of this 84 lakh species which body we will get. So very, very rare to get this human body, and the even more rare is to get the association of the devotees, durlabam manusam dehe dehinam shanabanguraga tatrapi durlabam manye vaikunta priya darshanam. So it is very rare to get the human body. Even more rare is to get the association of a devotee. So that has to be understood. Many a times we don't value the association of the devotee, correct? So we have to value the association of the devotee, because they are the one who is going to help us to go back to Godhead. We cannot go alone to go back to Godhead, because Krishna don't discriminate, he is a devotee or non-devotee, he gives the opportunity to everyone in a similar manner. It is how good we are in the grabbing mode, from Krishna, how we can utilize that. It is as good as the teacher teaching the same max theorem, or algorithm or anything to the whole class. But if someone able to understand, and they are able to show more interest to learn more, then teacher will spend more time with that particular person. But teacher is not discriminating, we can't say that teacher is biased with that particular student only because he was listening and he could able to understand and he is asking more queries. No, teacher teaching the similar manner, Lord giving the mercy to all, similar manner, it is in our hand how to grab that mercy, how to make utilize of that mercy. Okay, that is what very important we have to understand. Then no escape by material means if we do the material activities, we can never escape from this material world. Okay, all attempts to counteract miseries are futile. Whatever we do in the material activities, like that would be futile, and escaping miseries is like transferring burden from the head to shoulder. So we can't think that, okay, I have one misery today, I will just like do the other activity so that I will transfer that misery. No, it is as good as like, okay, transferring that misery from the head to the shoulder. But we have to find the permanent resolution, not the temporary resolution. The permanent resolution is getting out from this material world. Okay, that we have to perform the devotion service. By doing that, we can go out from the material world. Yeah. Then Narada's solution, like what he's saying, performing bhakti, counteract not by hallucination, but by awakening bhakti. Because bhakti is sleeping in our heart. Like, hey, we don't need to create, or we don't need to form that bhakti. We just need to awaken by just awaken our heart and mind. Like, okay, that is what Narada Muni is explaining. So only remedy is like to surrender to Krishna. Sarva dharman parityaja mamekam saranam vraja aham tvam sarva papavya moksheshami masuchaga. So remedy is like when we surrender to Krishna, when we seek the help from Krishna, Krishna will guide us, because he is present as a Kshirodakashayi Vishnu in every one of us. So if we sincerely surrender to Krishna, then definitely Krishna will reciprocate. Okay, bhakti to Lord through Guru, like which is without the detachment and the knowledge is impossible. Okay, because without Guru, we will never be able to get the knowledge. So surrendering to Guru, where that Guru, will take us to Krishna. Okay, hearing leads to seeing the Lord, like which we have seen multiple times. So Shravanam is so important anga of the bhakti. Okay, Krishna Kada found where pure devotees live, here chant eagerly Lord's glories. Okay, Yatra Bhagavada Rajan Sadavo Visadayasa Bhagavat Gunanukatana Shravana Vyagra Chetasaka. So Krishna Kada has been it can be found like where pure devotees live, here chant eagerly Lord's glories. Drinking Krishna Kada eagerly through ears relieves one from the hunger, thirst, lamentation, which we have seen already. Why we have to hear? Because it will remove all our miseries, thirst, lamentation, and hunger. Okay, that is the reason we have to hear Krishna Kada satatam, and all the time, like a nirantaram. Likewise, we should not hear when we have free time. All the time we have to hear. Okay, disturbed soul, no time to elevate, cultivate attachment of hearing. Because if someone disturb, or if they don't want to perform bhakti, they will never be able to elevate in the Krishna consciousness. So Narada ends Prachinabari's ritual. Not even Brahma or Shiva or Kumaras, me or Karmish know the Lord. Only the devotees can understand the Lord in a better manner. So we have to perform the devotional service. Vedic rituals are should never be the goal of life, because Prachinabari keep killing the animal sacrifice, keep killing the animal, correct? In the name of sacrifice, that has to be end. Okay, that should never be performed, because he should never get the sinful activity. Foolish people don't know the purpose of the Vedas. They know only part and parcel of the Vedas, and they perform. But the real purpose of the Veda is hey, offer everything to Vishnu or Krishna, surrender everything to Krishna. Okay. So he told very clearly, you foolishly sacrifice many animals. Everyone should take shelter of the Lord, who is Super Soul, Supreme Controller, and shelter of all. Okay, so that we have seen. And result of that worshipping, Savai Priyatma Chatma Yato na Bayam Anvapi Iti Veda Savai Vidwan Yo Vidwan Sa Gurur Harihi. So result of that worshipping the Lord is we will go back to the Godhead. We don't need to suffer in this material world. So then he's talking about like again the deer allegory, like which would be explained in the upcoming days. So then Prachinabari is saying, okay, now all my doubts are like clear. How to transfer of karma like the next life? How our karma is getting transferred to next life? This is his next question. So that is how like the further questions will be answered like in the detailed manner by Narada Muni to King Prachinabari. Okay, I'm not going to go in the detail because it is like until 85 sloka. Okay, this is how the whole chapter been explained. Okay, now we will just go to this again, like the next canto. Next chapter of that 4.30. It would be explaining the activities of Prachetas, like who's Prachinabari's son. Okay, that would be explained. So this is how like the whole chapter been fixed. So now why we have to read, like we know, okay, we have to understand something, we have to practice something. What we can understand from all these things, like Krishna has various qualities, correct? Krishna is like a very humble, Krishna is like a very powerful, he is so lovable, okay, he is so his gratitude is like a unimaginable, because even someone not doing the devotion service or someone giving bad name about Krishna, okay, to them also he is merciful. This was the same question asked by King Yudhishthira Maharaj to Narada Muni. Okay, he is asking how we can understand Krishna's mercy, because who keep on like talking bad about Krishna in the assembly of like the Rajasuya Yajna. What is that guy name? Prita?
Shishupala Prabhuji?
Shishupal, correct? Yes, Mataji. Yeah, Shishupal. So he continuously like talk about Krishna 100 times, like 100 continuous times, bad about Krishna, like then he will be killed by the Sudarshan Chakra of the Lord. Okay, but after killing, he is going and merging into the Brahma Jyoti, like he is getting the renunciation, like then he's saying like I could not able to understand. Lord is not partial, but at the same time, like how he can even give the mercy to like one who is commenting about him. So Lord Krishna is like impartial. He is equal to everyone. So we will just take a gist of like what is his gratitude, like how well Krishna shows his gratitude to all of us. Okay, so Krishna talks about, okay, before that we will just understand the whole summary of this particular the allegory theory and 4.29. The conditioned soul's a journey. Okay, so the living entity want to desire, like having the desire to enjoy separately from Krishna, and they contact with the material nature gunas, like the three mode of material nature, and they get into the false ego, which is thinking, okay, I am the body, I am not the soul. Then wrongly identification with the body and mind, they are getting sense gratification like a mentally, then sense gratification mentality, then they are getting attachment like a via family, wealth, position, fame, etc. Then they are getting into the fear and anxiety and the suffering mode, and they are accumulating the karma, and via that, like they are getting the repeated birth and death, like they are getting into this samsara. Okay, so this conditioned soul's journey. The allegory of Puranjana, what Puranjana, like the soul enters into a city of 9 gates, like the city with the 9 gates via that body, thinks that like I am the king. He wants to enjoy through senses, become controlled by the senses, and forgets his real identity. So the bondage does not begin with action, but with the desire. Our desire has to be like a purified. Then only we can do the devotion service. The soul is never the controller, only the false enjoyer. Okay, how the Puranjana is thinking, okay, I am the king, I want to enjoy. It is not like that. Like okay, he is getting into the false ego. I am the body. He want to enjoy bodily. So the human body of city of 9 gates is like I explained. The human body is like the city. The 9 gates are like the sense openings. 2 eyes, 2 ears, like 2 nostrils, 1 mouth, genitals, and rectum, like all these things. What is the purpose of doing all those things? Then mind coordinates the senses, okay? Then soul mistakenly identifies with activities, and that is how like we are getting entangled in this material world. The role of mind and intelligence, like a key teaching is mind will take sankalpa or vikalpa, like a attraction or distraction, okay? Then the attraction or aversion, like then the sense desire, like we will have more and more sense desire. Then intelligence, like supports that enjoyment. Okay, no, you enjoy in this material senses, like that via that the plans for pleasure, like will be planned. Okay, how I can enjoy, how I can benefit from this enjoyment. Then this will continue like a repeated engagement. Then it will deepen our material impression, like okay, we will keep engaging and keep accumulating the karma. The problem is not the senses but misidentification with them. We keep misidentify the senses, like via that we are getting entangled. The intelligence is neutral, if either liberates or binds depending on direction. Like intelligence will say, okay, if I want to perform devotion service, it will say, okay, it will liberate us. I will say, okay, if I want to do material thing, it will bind us like in this material world. So intelligence like will be depend upon like our sense enjoyment. Like okay, if you want to do the sense enjoyment in this material world, or we want to engage our senses in the spiritual activities. So it depends upon that, like intelligence will be guiding and directing us. Okay, the attachment fear cycle would be attachment, like because of this material attachment, we'll have a lot of expectation. The fear of losing, like will come into the picture. Okay, I may lose my this house, like I may lose my job, I may lose like okay my property, etc., etc. Then that will create the anxiety, that will create like the suffering in this material world. Then we will have more and more attachment, like the cycle continues forever. The illusion of the permanence, like okay, the knowledge is death is certain, like that is the knowledge. But in the practical life, we will think, okay, I will live for long, I will never die. Okay, then we will think about plans for the enjoyment. Then we will get into this old age and disease, and the shock and suffering will happen in a cyclic manner. Like okay, in our life, if we didn't understand, okay, death is certain. Where there is material love, there is inevitable fear. Material life is like intellectual dishonesty, because we know death is coming, but we ignore it. Like we don't know how much time we wasted and how much time we left in this life. So we have to perform the devotional service in a very perfect manner. So again, like the heart, all these things been explained like by Narada Muni to King Prachinabari. So the heart, like which is mind influenced by the gunas, it experiences like the illusion, moha, temporary pleasure like a sukha, dukkha lema shashvatam, then distress like a dukkha. So moha, sukha, dukkha keep on circulating in our life, and we will not have any lasting satisfaction, like because all these things are temporary. Okay, so we know what is the root problem and what is the real solution. Root problem is sense enjoyment, attachment, bondage, and samsara. Like this is a problem path. Like the solution path is heart. Okay, the heart, we have to control our mind. Okay, which is being controlled by the 3 gunas, and we should come out like from these experiences, and we have to perform the devotion service. That has to be the solution path. I think here like some copy paste thing, like I have not modified this. So it has the solution path is like performing the devotion service and engaging like in the hearing, chanting, doing all type of the 9 devotional process. Like that is the solution path, so that we will go home, like okay, go back to Godhead. So that is the solution path. So without Krishna in the heart, no experience satisfies permanently. The same mind and intelligence that bind the soul through the sense enjoyment can liberate him when engaged in devotion to Krishna. So it is just like the consciousness. If we engage our mind and intelligence in the material activities, then it will bind us in this material world. If the same mind and intelligence, if we are able to engage in the spiritual activities, it will help us to get out from this material world and go back to the spiritual world. So that is what being meant here. The whole summary is like, okay, the pure soul desire to enjoy via the material nature and getting engaged into this false ego and getting into this human body city of 9 gates, and mind leads to senses, sense gratification, attachment, fear and anxiety like it develops, and we are getting more, accumulating the more karma, and the birth and death cycle like it continues. So how we can break the cycle? We have to engage spiritual, get the spiritual intelligence. How we can get the spiritual intelligence? Via this hearing and chanting, and then Krishna will be awakened in our heart, and we can get the liberation, and like we can get the opportunity to do more bhakti. Okay, so this again like the whole thing, what the whole allegory theory, like a root of bondage, city of 9 gates been explained, mind and intelligence, like how it has to be engaged in the spiritual activities, then attachment and fear, how we can avoid, and how we can how Krishna can manifest in our heart, like by engaging in the spiritual activities. Like, okay, so this how we have to engage ourselves into the Krishna consciousness in the devotion service to get out from this material world. Like this how Narada is explaining to King Prachinabari via the allegory theory of like Puranjana, okay, who got engaged in the city of 9 gates. So Puranjana, we all are like, okay, Puranjana via Narada Muni is not explaining to only King Prachinabari, he is explaining to all of us, like, okay, because we are getting engaged in our body, like, okay, and more and more the material activities, material things, we have to understand, we have to avoid that, and we have to guide us, like, okay, in doing more and more devotional service. Okay, so the glories of devotional service, we have to understand. Many a times, like we will say, okay, that devotee is suffering due to karma. That devotee is like, okay, in spite of performing so many devotion service, he is getting engaged into like many sufferings. So very clear understanding we have to have. Only karmis experience the karma. Okay, if someone performing devotion service, even the practicing devotee or like a sadhakas, okay, sadhaka bhakta, they will never experience karma. Okay, but how we will see, like in their life they are practicing, but still they are suffering. That suffering is not due to their karma, but due to their anarthas. Okay, because they are not fully engaged in the devotion service, and it is due to their aparat, like committed various aparat of like nama, seva aparat, like okay, dam aparat, nam aparat, like okay, Vaishnava aparat. Likewise, like okay, there are so many aparatas there. Many a times we will think, okay, this seva is not good, like I am good in this seva, so what we will not give that importance to like that seva. So likewise we will commit various mistakes. So it is not due to the karma, it is due to the anarthas, like the lust, greed, anger, and like various anarthas. Due to that, devotee will go through the suffering. It may be like for their purification also, like okay, Lord will put them into that situation so that like they will come out from that, like by learning how to come out of that situation. It is due to anarthas and aparats, devotees will never suffer like due to the karma. They will suffer due to the anarthas and aparat. Okay, that has to be understood. And anyone who start the devotion service might be having like the haunting past in the previous time or like a previous life, but they will have a promising future. That has to be understood. Like we all one or the other day will go to the Gologadam. We will see Krishna face to face. We will be able to serve the Lord. That is the promising future. Though our past, like we have gone through so many miseries, so many issues, like but we will have a promising future. Via that, we have to understand and we have to perform the devotion service. Okay, so I just want to explain in a couple of minutes. Like okay, Krishna says, what is the gratitude of the greatness of the gratitude of Krishna? Okay, he says in the Bhagavad Gita 9.26, like patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhaktiya prayashyati tadaham bhakti ubhagradam ashnami prayatatmanaga. many of us like know this sloka. So just a leaf or water or fruit or patram, like patram, the flower, if you offer to Lord with love and devotion, he accepts it. But we can't say, okay, it is my own greatness. Okay, I take effort to bring that like a flower from there and offer to Krishna, or bring that like water where there is no water was available. I gone there and like taking out and giving to Krishna, because Krishna doesn't need all of these things like at all, because Krishna is not going to be benefited at all, because everything comes from Krishna, correct? Like even you take patram, any patram comes from Krishna, any phalam, like any fruit, any water, and everything comes from Krishna only. So then why Krishna is asking us to offer? He is not looking for the content, okay? He's looking for the intent. He is giving us the opportunity after opportunity. Please, via this devotion service, via offering this, you will come to me. You get a chance to come to me. So that has to be understood. Okay, many a times we'll say, "Oh, I prepared nice bhoga. Like it is my own specialty. Like to prepare this bhoga, I am very good in like performing this." First of all the ingredients, though you gone out like to market and purchase everything, uh, the money you given to them is coming from Krishna. All the ingredients are coming from Krishna. All the knowledge like how to prepare, all the utensils like whatever using, anything and everything is coming from Krishna. We have to serve Krishna in that mode. That is what the love and devotion he is mentioning in this particular sloka. Not only in this sloka, in every of the Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, like okay, because Arjuna was a great warrior, correct? He, when Krishna was with him, he is able to fight even the greatest army, like even he was able to fight against Bhishma Dev, who is the very great warrior. But when Krishna was not there with Arjuna, he was even unable to fight a fisherman. Like when he goes out, like okay, without Krishna, he's unable to even fight with a one of the soldier near the ocean. Correct. So Krishna gives us the opportunity. Anything and everything belongs to Krishna. That mood we have to imbibe. That mood like we have to cultivate. And by doing that, so we will develop the bhakti, we will develop the love towards the Lord. That is what we have to understand from the Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam. Like, though Krishna asking us to offer, everything comes from Krishna, everything will go back to Krishna, and Krishna is giving us the opportunity, nimitta matram, like just being the instrument in that, doing that, like okay, so that you become benefited. It is for our own benefit. Krishna is saying, okay, do this, do that, do that. And he is not giving like only one option. He is giving n number of options. In the devotion service also, like you have n number of things. In the worshipping also, like you have various way like you get to worship the Lord. In the sevas also, he is giving various ways, like you can do many sevas. So Krishna is giving option after option, like opportunity after opportunity to all of us. But many a times, like we keep ignoring the importance of like doing the service to Krishna. Because many a times, like you just see, you are watching a YouTube channel, or like you are watching a shorts in Instagram, or like anything, correct? The one who creates the content is getting paid by us watching that content, correct? They will get paid, but what we are doing, we are wasting our valuable time by watching that content, that YouTube or like the Instagram shorts, correct? By giving our life to them, okay, 5 minutes you are watching a content. By giving that 5 minutes to them, we are making them earn more, and we are wasting our valuable time. In spite of that, like we can utilize that valuable time in doing devotion service. So we have to cultivate the concept like don't waste time in mundane activities, and don't add years to our life. Like, okay, I live for like a 70 years. Don't add the years to life. Add life to the year. Like, okay, what activity I have done, what spiritual activity I have done, like in those years. That has to be our motive of life. Like, okay, that has to be cultivated. Okay, how I can add more life to the years, like which I am going to live to the rest of my life. That has to be understood and like a performed, and it has to be like okay cultivated, not only once, like a every now and then. That is very very important thing. Okay, then let's understand like a Krishna's gratitude, how great like a Krishna. We can see many many pastimes, like okay, by just offering rice flags, like okay, the Kushela or Sudama got so much mercy from Krishna. Like he was invited by Krishna. Like Krishna is massaging his feet, Sudama's feet. So by just offering like a willingness to offer the rice flags, so we can see like a Krishna's gratitude in that particular pastime. Another pastime. So Bali Maharaj, okay, he was ruling the kingdom very greatly, and he had a fight with the whole devatas, and he taken their kingdom also. So at that time, like Indradev and all the devatas, like okay, were praying to Lord, and then Atiti Mata, like okay, via the Kashyapa Muni, she got begetted. Like okay, she was praying to Lord, and Lord told, okay, I will come as a Vamana Dev. Vamana Dev's another name, like the real name, who can say?
Upendra.
Upendra, very good. Yeah, Upendra. So his real name is like Upendra. So he is like okay, the brother of Indradev, correct? So he comes and he told that okay, I will come as in this form, and I will go on like okay, conquer Bali Maharaj. So then Bali Maharaj like taken the position, like he is entering to the assembly of Bali Maharaj. Okay, so while Vamanadev was entering into the assembly of Bali Maharaj got the hint. Okay, this is not a normal Brahmana. Okay, he is the supreme personality of Godhead, and he just want to pay the prostrated obeisances like to the Lord. But since he was sitting as a king, okay, he felt okay, it may not be good because all my other ministers and like other assembly people, they will think that okay, why our king is like okay, experiencing or like doing this embarrassing state, and let me not do the prostrated obeisances. Let me just like do the obeisance in my mind, in my heart, like so that is how he did the obeisances to the Lord, like in his mind and heart. Then after he conquered everything, like Bali Maharaj, Vamanadeva was asking like three steps of the land, like then Bali Maharaj told like okay, you can take it. So with his two steps, like he covers the entire universe, and he's asking like the third step, and he's putting the Bali Maharaj is like okay, putting bowing his head, and Vamanadeva is like okay, placing his lotus feet on Bali Maharaj's head. Bali Maharaj, after experiencing this, all others were like okay, commenting about Bali Maharaj, Sukracharya, then Bali Maharaj's wife, like okay, everyone is commenting. See, we already highlighted to you, like you should not accept this Brahmana's request. But Bali Maharaj, like okay, ignored all their comments. Like okay, he is just astonished by the gratitude of Vamanadev. What he's in his mind, it is going through is, Lord, I have not even did the prostrated obeisances when you enter into the assembly. I just did the obeisances in my heart and mind. For that, you are showing the mercy, this great magnanimous mercy. Then what would have happened if I did the prostrated obeisances to you? That is the greatness of the Lord. Lord always sees the intent more than the content. Okay, you take any of the great pastimes. Okay, Lord gives opportunity after opportunity, like to all the devotees. See, who created the biggest calamity, like okay, in the Vrindavan? It is not by any demons, like not even Kamsa. The biggest calamity being created by Indradev, correct? So when he was pouring like a torrential rain, he was giving so much trouble to the trouble to the Vrajavasis.
Vrajavasis.
But still, Lord, he didn't reject him. Like he given the redemption to him. Like he given the opportunity to get like okay corrected. Even Brahma, like okay, Brahma did the Brahma Vimohan Leela, correct? Lord didn't reject, like okay. So Lord will give us the opportunity after opportunity because His greatness we can never be able to understand. His gratitude, like we are not showing any gratitude to Lord, but the Lord gives the gratitude. He shows His magnanimous gratitude by giving opportunity after opportunity, by giving all the options in our life. Like okay, how many times we rejected Lord, but He never rejects us. He gives us opportunity after opportunity. So that has to be understood, that has to be performed, like that has to be cultivated in our life. Like that is what the greatness of the Lord, because Lord has many qualities, all the qualities what we are having been imbibed by Lord. Like okay, so we have to show the gratitude towards Lord by performing devotion service, by accepting Him in our heart, in our life, in our home. That has to be the whole understanding of like the devotion service. So in 6.1.19, like the glories of the chanting being mentioned, Sakan Manaha Krishna Padara Vindayor Niveshitam Tad Guna Rahi Yar Iha Nate Yamampasha Bratast Tad Batan Swapne api pashyantihi chirana nishkitaha. So even if one chants the holy name of the Lord, even at once, like okay, they chanted, then they don't need to see the emerald, even in their dreams. Okay, that is the power of the holy name. Although not having fully realized in Krishna, persons who have not even persons who have even once surrendered completely unto the lotus feet of the Lord, and who have become attracted to His name, form, qualities, and pastimes are completely freed from all the sinful reactions, for they have thus accepted the true method of atonement. Even in dreams, such surrendered souls do not see Yamaraja or his order carriers, who are equipped with ropes to bind the sinful activity. So this is what happened in the pastimes of Ajamila, correct? Like he called Narayana not the Lord, but his son, but still the Vishnudutas came like to take him, correct? So that is the power of holy name. That is the power of like a Krishna. In our life, like the pass mark would be like a 35, but in Krishna, like even if you attempt to uh, answer the questions are like present in the exam, Krishna will make us pass, correct? Like that Krishna sees only the intent, not the content. So that has to be understood. So we have to consciously engage our senses, our mind, our intelligence, our life to Krishna. So engage our senses in Krishna service, like okay, this one Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavida Matigi, Kriyatam Yati Kuto Api Labhyate, Tatra Laulyam. Only the desire, intense greed to obtain, the desire to serve Krishna has to be performed in our life, then Krishna will manifest in our life. Sarvobadi Vinirmuktam Tat Paratvena Nirmalam Rishikena Rishikesha Shevana Bhakti Uchete. So engaging all our senses, like hey, we have to perform bhakti. So again, the key points is don't waste time in mundane activities like hey, YouTube reads or we give our life to their earnings. Don't add years to your life, our life, like hey, but add life to the years, like hey, then what we live for us like a more valuable than what we live with. So we have to connect with the Lord. We have to put the end to the material desires. Like, okay, we have to often think, okay, more sense pleasure or more than the sense pleasure to think about the Lord. Okay, in this manner, we have to perform the devotion service all the time. Satatam kirtayanto mam ananya chintayanto mam yoginchida satatam. So always nirantara, like a nirantara Krishna nama. So we have to engage in Krishna service. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thanks all for giving the opportunity. So if you think like something valuable you taken from this particular session, all glories to Srila Prabhupada and the Guru Parampara, other Vaishnava Acharyas. And if you think like anything I said wrongly, please, it is out of my ignorance. Please forgive me. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, the 4.24 slide, would you mind just displaying it again, Prabhuji? 4.24 summary.
Okay, 4.29, Mataji. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yes,
this-
Prabhuji,
yeah.
little, if you could please scroll it up. I want to see the bottom.
Okay, 1 second. Are you able to see, Mataji?
Prabhu, after hearing and chanting, it's not visible.
Now also?
Yeah, now it's okay, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
That was a wonderful note, Prabhuji, to the Reels one.
Hare
We are
Krishna.
beginning the new year tomorrow, so a lesson.
Yeah. All glories to Amarendra Prabhu, like because it was said by him in one of the lecture.
Shobita Mata, Prabhuji, you have time for questions to devotees?
Yeah, sure, Maji. Yeah.
Shobita Mataji, you can ask your question and then Sumangala Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dhanavad pranams. Prabhuji, we all know that Shishupal or Kans, everyone, they went to Brahma Jyoti. But we are also hearing again and again that once a yogi goes to Brahma Jyoti, he falls down. So does it only apply on yogi or even in the case of Shishupal and Dantavakra and all those, because they are the devotees of the Lord, like Jai Vijay Deva. So I couldn't understand that part.
Yeah. Everyone it will be applied, Maji. Like they been taken the position of at the end of the day, like Shishupal and Dandavaktra, like who are they? They are the Dwarapalakas, correct? Like the Jay and Vijaya. Okay, so they will be in Lord's pastime, like they will go into the other pastime. That's per like a Lord wishes.
So they will be going to some other universe again on the earthly planets.
Yeah,
Is
correct.
it,
It is like how Lord wants to utilize them, like how Bhishma Dev been utilized by Lord in that particular being a great warrior. Like if you're on the side of Adharma, you will never become a winner. So he exhibited by putting Bhishma Dev into that particular situation. So likewise, the devotee is okay to do anything and everything for the Lord. Even he is okay to fight against the Lord. Though it is not the proper devotion service, but if Lord wishes, we are okay to do anything.
Yeah, Prabhuji, right. Okay. So that means, Prabhuji, anyone who goes to that Brahma Jyoti has to come down.
Yeah, correct. Exactly, Manji. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Manji. Hare Krishna. Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandat pranams, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for the wonderful, valuable class, Prabhuji. So many takeaway points. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. My question is that, Prabhuji, devotees are so exalted. Even if they do little service also, I mean, God gives them such a position. Like you narrated the story of Indra. So like Indra. So Prabhuji, I just wanted to know, we know that devotees are so, Vaishnavas should be treated well and should be paid so much of respect and aparadas should not be done, all that. But how to, then they also instruct us to be discriminate, no Prabhuji, like discriminate in the sense, like you should know who's a Madhyama Adhikari, or, I mean, they say no Prabhuji, like you can, what to say that? They say no Prabhuji. You have
No,
to
that is a
differentiate
that is a
among that.
classification. You don't need to discriminate. Okay. So you classify them and try to help them to achieve the devotion service. If they are not doing so much, then you see 1 or 2 times then you try to concentrate on your own bhakti rather than not wasting spending more time with them and by discussing with them your bhakti should not uh, deteriorate so that is what the whole purpose of the classification. We don't need to, while performing bhakti that is a concept to understand, but in reality you don't need to fully need to discriminate them because if Srila Prabhupada would have discriminated okay, I will associate only with the Uttamadhikari, then all the sannyasis would not have, the whole ISKCON would not have come into the existence, correct? So it is just to understand okay, there are the various levels we have to grow for our own bhakti. To others, okay, anyone who chants even the one time of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, he should be considered as a devotee and in the Uttama state only. In that mode, we have to understand for our own elevation, okay, there is a Adhyam, Kanishta, okay, then Madhyama Adhikari and Uttama Adhikari, how I can elevate myself, am I more concerned about okay, others, or I am okay to mingle with anyone, everyone, my bhakti I will protect. So in that manner, it is for our own classification, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. To me, in that practically, it is very difficult, challenging, Prabhuji. Like when we, if because unknowingly, if we make any, comments or unknowingly, we have to be very, very cautious, no, Prabhuji. So in that case, so the Vaishnava apradhas will also happen. So we have to be very cautious. So how can we deal with such things, Prabhuji?
You don't need to discriminate a Vaishnava and a non-Vaishnava, Mataji. You consider Lord is in every one of the living entity. So let me respect everyone and don't expect any respect from anyone. So you respect everyone and don't expect the respect from anyone. In that manner, you will be able to perform the bhakti. You are seeing Lord in every one of the living entity. Then there is no discrimination needed, no comments needed. If others are commenting, fine, it is their own conception, their own understanding. I don't need to bother about it. Okay, move on. It is little difficult, but slowly, if you are doing that, your bhakti, you can protect your bhakti. You don't need to get into the you don't fall as a victim okay, because of others' comments, because of aparat, all those things. We can avoid all those aparat. Okay, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Very
Hare
helpful.
Krishna. Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Padma Mataji, you ask your question, then I'll ask. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Very nice class, Prabhuji. I love the slides that you always show.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Prabhuji, in your slide, the 26.31, where you showed a dog, right?
Yeah.
During that time, you said you said one sloka, recited the sloka Durlabha Manava. Where do you find it, Prabhuji? What's the
No,
reference?
it is from Srimad Bhagavatam only, Mataji. I will tell you the sloka number, because I'm not remembering on top of my head.
Yeah, because I love that the
Durlabham.
sloka.
Yeah. This is a sloka, Mataji.
761.
No, not this one, not this one. Durlabham Manusham Deho. 11.2.29. Okay. So Durlabho Manusho Deho. Yeah. 11.2.29. Durlabho Manusho Deho. Dehinam Shana Banguraha. Tatrapi Durlabham Manye Vaikunta Priya Darshanam. Very nice. For the conditioned souls, the human body is the most difficult to achieve and it can be lost any moment. But I think even those who have achieved a human life are rarely gain the association of the pure devotees who are very dear to Lord Vaikunta. Hare Krishna. This I've been talked to when Maharaj Nimi meets the 9 Yogendras. Very nice look at this one. Yeah. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Maji. Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Yes.
Prabhu, my question that always keeps coming back to me, Prabhu, that while we say that anybody who chants Hare Krishna even once don't see Yamrajas ever again,
Yeah,
even in their
correct,
dreams, how you mentioned. And Prabhu,
correct.
then we hear that how much we are chanting, we are always chanting in Nama Bhas and Nama, little Nama Aparad also comes sometimes, and unknowingly we do offenses. So then, Prabhu, what is our gati? Because as you mentioned, referring to this, that even if one chants once also doesn't see Yamraja, then what is our gati, Prabhu? Because all the time, even while chanting, that fear still remains that I hope I'm not doing any aparadh, Prabhu. So can you
Because
explain?
we are not fully surrendering to Krishna, and we have so many anarthas, and we are committing knowingly or unknowingly many aparathas. So the recent sufferings, like we are unable to chant properly, etc., etc. First of all, we came to this material world itself is due to our anarthas, correct? We want to enjoy separately from the Lord. For that reason, we came this here. And after that, we are getting associated with the false ego. Like we are thinking, okay, I am the body, I'm not the soul. Then on top of it, like my, I, we are getting like so many things. Okay, I am a devotee, I am performing like he is not a non-devotee. Likewise, knowingly or unknowingly, many anarthas we have, many aparat we have. That is the reason like we are getting engaged in this material world, getting entangled in this material world. So how to get? By chanting more and more, like okay. और चेतो दर्पणमार्जनम भवमहा दवाग्नि निर्वापनम श्रेया कैरव चंद्रिका विदरणम विद्यावधु जीवनम आनंदांबुदिवर्धनम प्रतिपदम पूर्णामृत सर्वम सर्वात्मा सनम परम विजयते श्री कृष्ण संकीर्तनम. So cheto darpanamarjanam, like we have so much dust accumulated in our heart, in our body, like we have to remove by chanting, chanting, chanting. We don't know how much time we left, like how much near we are to Krishna. We have to trust the process, and we have to do the process by limiting our anarthas and like by removing the aparatas. Then slowly and gradually we will go back to Godhead. As long as we are in this material, as long as we are in the fearful, like okay, lamentation and all the anxiety mode, we are having anarthas and aparatas. Sometime we may say, okay, no, I don't have anarthas and aparatas, but knowingly or unknowingly, we have that. It is as good as like, okay, are we envy of the Lord? We will say, no, I am not envy of the Lord, because Lord is in a great position, like I am not envy of the Lord. But in reality, we all are envy of the Lord, because envy about the Lord. Why? Because one who thinks all the time, Lord is the supreme master, Lord is the only controller, he is the only enjoyer, then we are not envy of the Lord. Many a times we think, okay, I am the controller, I am the master, I am the enjoyer, I want to enjoy. Then we are envy of the Lord. So that mood has to go away. Then only we can get into the real bhakti, ananya bhakti, the uttama bhakti. Okay, Mataji?
Yes, no, so my question was, Prabhu, that while, yes, we try doing all of this, but my only question was that what is our gati?
What is your destination, you are saying?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah, that is like, okay, whether you are going to be in Swargaloka, or like in Naragaloka, or in this material universe, that will be depends upon the Lord. Okay, the calculation He has it. No one else will be having it. Like it's just surrender to the Guru, and the Guru taken a vow like to take back the devotee or the disciple to Lord. So practice His instruction, perform the devotion service, then leave the rest to the Lord. Why we need to think, okay, what I am going to do, what will be my destination, rather than wasting the time, chant 2 more times like a Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Then we are maximizing our chances to be eligible enter into the Goloka, rather than thinking, okay, why we separated from the Lord, why I came here, like hey, how I can go back to Godhead. Devotion service only. What will happen like if I didn't practice like a bhakti in a proper manner? Rather than wasting time, or rather than like spending more time for those things, use those time effectively in Krishna service. Okay, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Wonderful
Hare
class
Krishna.
and very
Yeah,
nice
Hare Krishna.
presentation with lot of clarity.
Hare Krishna. Thanks for
Hare
the
Krishna.
opportunity. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Parampara. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare
Hare
Hare.
Krishna.
Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Thanks, Maji.
Vanchakalpatarubhyascha
Tadapyascha
kripa
Kripasindhubhyascha
sindhubhya
Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha.
Anantamati Krishna Vrinda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai,
Jai.
Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
Jai, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you,
So much,
Dandavat
Prabhuji.
Pranam.
Dandavat
May I
Hare
end
Krishna,
the
Maji.
class, Prabhu, with your permission?
Yeah,
Thank you,
sure,
Mataji.
Maji. Hare Krishna,
Hare
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 Krishna. Thanks
Krishna,
for
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna.
joining.
Thank you. Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna to
Dandavat
all
Pranam.
devotees.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna, Mataji.
Mataji.
Hare Krishna.